Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sold Sign podcast. We are your host and favorite realtors, Naya
and Lauren.
And we are so excited to be back with y'all today for another story. So remember, these are stories that we are sharing with you to give you some insight, some tips, something you can learn from behind the scene of real estate. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seller, an investor, or just somebody who's interested in learning a little bit more about what's going on in the real estate world, this channel is for you. So today we have a story called Keeping It Real with Your Finances.
A couple have been married for several years, talking about their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Yet there was one aspect of their life they had never fully disclosed to each other: their finances. As they began searching for their first home, they were extremely excited. They spent weekends touring homes, visiting open houses, envisioning a future filled with love and laughter in their own space. However, when it came time to discuss budget and financing options, tensions began to arise. The husband, a successful accountant, had always been diligent with his finances. He's been saving diligently and investing very wisely. The wife, on the other hand, had a more relaxed approach to money management, preferring to live in the moment rather than plan for the future. As they sat down with a lender and a real estate agent to discuss their options, it became evident that their financial differences were more significant than they had realized. The husband was shocked to discover that his wife had accumulated significant debt over the years, including credit card bills and student loans, of which he had been completely unaware. Feeling betrayed and overwhelmed, they found themselves in an awkward and uncomfortable position. Their dream of home ownership seemed further away and out of reach than ever before, as they dealt with the reality of their financial situation. A couple had been married for several years, talking about their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Yet there was one aspect of their lives they had never fully disclosed to each other: their finances. As they began searching for their first home, they were extremely excited. They spent weekends touring open houses, visiting homes, envisioning a future filled with love and laughter in their own space. However, when it came time to discuss budget and financing options, tensions began to arise. The husband, a successful accountant, had always been diligent with his finances, saving and investing wisely. The wife, on the other hand, had a more relaxed approach to money management, preferring to live in the moment rather than plan for the future. As they sat down with a lender and a real estate agent to discuss their options, it became evident that their financial differences were more significant than they had realized. The husband was shocked to discover that his wife had accumulated significant debt over the years, including credit card and student loans, of which he was completely unaware. Feeling betrayed and overwhelmed, they found themselves in an awkward and uncomfortable position. Their dream of home ownership seemed further out of reach than ever before as they dealt with the reality of their financial situation. Where'd you say they went and didn't even know about the...
I just don't understand how they went to the altar. You went to the altar and you had no clue about finances?
None? Nothing. Y'all talked about everything else. Y'all dreams,
talked about
hopes, aspirations.
Hopes, dreams, aspirations. Well, I mean,
ain't that part of it?
Ain't that part of it?
How you gonna do any of that with no money?
Aspirations with no money.
How you gonna talk about that? What was this? What were y'all living off of right here? Like, I guess the dreams, because there was no.
They was living off of the hopes and the dreams.
The accountant husband, he got everything lined up. He got the money. He know exactly what he gonna be doing. And then y'all did not do premarital counseling.
Yeah, and then for you to be my accountant husband and you didn't have me together.
Yeah, you can't blame him. Don't be blaming the husband.
It is because it says, she was a bit more relaxed, living in the moment.
She was the wife.
So that's on her. She's got to reel that in. But you also can't be my accountant husband and you have no guidance. You've been giving me no guidance and supporting me and kind of reeling that back.
That's true. It seems like they didn't even talk about it. You don't know how much money you got in your savings account, how much I got. So y'all were just
What are y'all talking
on
about?
our Compass site, and y'all were looking at homes, and y'all were sitting there like, yeah, we gonna get this house, and not at one point did y'all say, oh, but how much money you guys save, because we gonna need this amount. But I guess but some people really don't know until they know. So once they sat down, spoke with a lender and a real estate agent, they realized like, oh wait, we need this amount of money, but your credit wasn't even there.
But he was like shocked about her student loans. Well, you know, she went to school.
Yeah, but you think she paid them off? Sorry, were yours all paid off? I'm just wondering. But y'all, but this is like a great lesson in financial transparency, because if you are going to be purchasing a house with someone, like just not you, if you're not purchasing a house by yourself and you have a spouse or whomever, you got to know what your finances are, what the credit is, both of y'all. Like that is a conversation that you have to have. Some people, we get it. They are not as open with their finances. They don't want to be. But if you're going to go into something as big as this is one of your biggest transactions. If you're going to go into something this big, you gotta be as honest as possible, because it's going to come out. We talked about this a few weeks ago when we had Ricardo Silva on here, and we said, y'all, you gotta know. I can't even because I'm sitting here like, you have to know what your finances are, and you have to be very truthful about it, because the one thing a lender is going to do is they are going to pull out every single thing. You can't hide anything when you're buying a house. If you are not organized with your finances, that is the one thing that's going to get you organized, and that is buying a house. So if you're buying it with somebody else and you think, oh, they don't need to know about the saving account I got over here, or they don't need to know that I have this amount of student loans or this amount of debt, that they are going to bring that out, because the one thing a lender needs to know is your debt to income. How much debt do you have to how much income? They're going to be able to see everything because they're pulling your credit. They know it all. So you might as well not lie about it. Just be upfront about it, especially with your significant other. And that way y'all are on the same page when you go and speak to a lender or real estate agent, because I could imagine the husband sitting there, like honestly sitting there thinking that he was about to get pre-approved for a house, and then surprise, no you're not, because your wife did all this. That's very embarrassing for y'all to walk in and not be on the same page, and you have no idea that you're not even on the same page as your wife. I'm sure that was very embarrassing, and it was awkward. They even said it, like it was a very awkward and uncomfortable position.
Yeah, that's
that's never want to be in that.
They mind, like you said, you might as well kind of pull everything out together so y'all won't be embarrassed. And you can't just kind of like, again, they had hopes, dreams, and aspirations. So like normally when you have hopes, dreams, and aspirations, you might be like saving or setting something aside. So like, were they just walking in like empty-handed, like let's go in here and see like what the paper says?
It seems like it.
Y'all didn't talk about savings either, because then like maybe at that point we could have been understanding a little bit more
about
and again
what in what account, who has what where. Like I feel like they weren't being very realistic with their expectations,
right?
And I don't know I don't know. They're both at fault because nobody had a conversation about it. It seemed like
they're both at fault. She's at fault because you knew what your credit card looked like. He's at fault because how are you my accountant husband? I can't get over that. And y'all went to the altar. Can't get over that. But yes, to plan ahead for a major expense, buying a home, like, they should have been like saving and having these conversations about what can we afford together? What would we like to afford together? And like maybe they did have those conversations, but like now you can't even. You got to go all the way back to ground zero and start all over, because what you thought you were going to afford and all that doesn't even matter now, because now you have to work backwards to figure out the debt and to figure out the savings. And that's unfortunate that, they were surprised at that point where the excitement was already built up to get pre-approved, and now we have to dial it all the way back. So, address the debt early. If one partner has the debt, which seems to be the case in this situation, y'all are a unit. Y'all done already went to that altar. So at this point, you should work together, make a plan to pay it off, whether you consolidate the debts, maybe you focus on the high interest stuff first. Maybe you do like the snowball effect, debt situation. So something. You got to have some kind of plan. And I'm sure he should have, hopefully, a lot of helpful ideas as an accountant for her.
Yeah, because the communication, if you do it early,
Yes.
you already know what you're getting yourself into. You know your time frame. Because even if you do decide to speak to a lender early, like in the process, at least y'all know what y'all debt is right up front, but you can go to the lender and say, hey, this is our debt. This is how much house we want to be able to afford. What do we need to do within the next year in order to get there? Because now y'all on the same page. Y'all in this together. Y'all on the same page together. And now y'all can work through y'all debt together. I don't know how the accountant husband feels about working through the wife's debt. I don't know. That's something y'all got to have a conversation about. But at least you're transparent and at least everybody knows what's going on. Because that is that would have been so embarrassing. I walk in there and I'm like.
Because you're right. Like, had they had an understanding and been on the same page, like, okay, we know you've got some debt to take care of. You know, my side is looking a little bit better, but let's at least go to the lender and see what the game plan needs to be, right? Like you said, to get to this house. But they're going up there now, shocked and embarrassed.
Right.
I mean, luckily they'll still have a game plan, but like they could have been already working on it, but they built up the excitement thinking they're about to keep doing this weekend of exploring open houses and putting in an offer soon.
Yep.
But that's actually not what you're about to do anymore. So
no, not at all. And that is depressing. Ooh, I'll be so pissed.
Yeah.
I'll be so mad. And just work together, y'all. Like, what? Because you never know. Okay, I'll give y'all a little story, a little history on my thing really quick. When my husband and I, he wasn't my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend at the time, 2016, we're going to buy a house, and we both realized, like, okay, one person has better credit, but one person has more income. How can we do this? Well, the lender was like, we're only going to do one person on a loan, and then on the next house y'all can have both people on the loan when you work on the other person's credit. So we put the house in one person's name. Obviously the loan amount wasn't as high because it was only going off one person's income, but we were still able to purchase the house. It's still a very nice house, especially at that time. It was a very nice house. And then 4 years later, we were able to leave out of that house, rent it out, and then go ahead and purchase something else with two people on it. So just because you both may not be able to purchase it, maybe the accountant husband has a much better credit score and the income may come from the wife, but the wife may be able to help with the down payment, and you can use the credit score for the husband. So you don't necessarily have to do it together, maybe just doing it with one person, because the excitement doesn't necessarily have to go away just because one person can't really do it. Just put one person on the loan and kind of see how that works. And then while you do have that one house, the other person who had, still working on their credit, they can work on their credit while you guys are building equity in that other house that you're in. So you do have like different options. Don't think it's like end all be all. And just because, both of you guys can't be on the loan, you do have other options, but you have to talk about it in order to know what your options are. And you have to be transparent. That's just what it is. So
wow. That was such a good point. They can totally go with one person for now, whoever has the better profile. While the other person, still works on it, so that they can get the next house or whatever. That was a great point.
And you be growing while you're building equity in the house, because it doesn't have to be your first house at $600,000. What if it's just $300,000 because it's only one person's income, and then in a few years you can go ahead and build that. Once you pay off your student loans and get rid of your credit card debt, then you can go ahead and do that. And then if you need, seek some type of professional advice from a tax accountant, or your husband's an accountant, or what kind of accountant, but tax accountant or a financial advisor, just so that you can get some type of help and financial literacy to learn kind of how you can get out of debt quick. So
yeah, I love that. So all in all, make sure that you all are having open and honest communication before you get to the lender, and maybe before you get to the altar.
Yes.
And address any debt that you can on your own. It's great if you can to talk to a lender, kind of see where you're at, and get a game plan for knowing what you need to work on to get to where you need to be in 6 months or a year. And then just continue to be transparent, to be open, to be willing to adjust. It might be a little bit of sacrificing or whatever to work on a budget, put extra savings aside, whatever it is. Just see from the professionals what your game plan should be going forward. Work together, right? You're on a team. And know that you have options, like Lauren said. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Be sure that you're not going to the lender and then just now for the first time learning those things. Be on the same page, and you can make it happen.
Yes, you can. So we want to thank you guys again for another week and joining us for another week and another episode. If you have not subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, this is where you're going to be able to find all of our visuals for at least for the whole episode, and then all of our clips and shorts. They will be on also on YouTube as well, but on TikTok and Instagram. And then you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, whatever that may be. We are on all of them. So again, we just want to thank you guys for joining us for another week, and we will see you next week. Bye.